The story of the United States does not begin in 1776. It stretches back thousands of years, across continents and cultures. From ancient civilizations living on the land to the global power America is today, this history is deep, complex, and always changing. It's a story of dreams and struggle, of ideals and contradictions. To understand the United States, we really have to begin with the people who first called this land home. We must follow the arrival of Europeans, the creation of colonies, and the enduring scars of slavery. The path leads through revolution, the founding of a new government, and the relentless push westward. It includes wars, inventions, and moments of hope and heartbreak. America's story is one of freedom, but also of inequality. It is a nation built on ideals, yet marked by conflict. Each generation has shaped the country in new ways, redefining what it means to be American. Only by looking at the long arc of history can we understand how the United States became what it is today. This essay offers a journey through time, examining the key moments, people, and ideas that have shaped the nation. It is the story of the United States, from ancient tribes to superpower and beyond. Long before Europeans arrived, powerful civilizations flourished in North America. The ancestors of today's Native Americans came across land bridges from Asia more than 13,000 years ago. Over centuries, diverse tribes and nations spread across the continent. They built villages, cities, and trade networks. Some of the most advanced societies included the Mississippian culture near present-day St. Louis, with its massive earthen mounds at Cahokia. In the southwest, the ancestral Puebloans constructed cliff dwellings at places like Mesa Verde. Farther north, the Iroquois Confederacy united powerful nations with its own democratic traditions. Plains tribes, such as the Lakota and Cheyenne, became skilled horsemen and hunters. These societies developed rich cultures, arts, and religions. They respected the land and used its resources wisely. Their technologies included complex irrigation, astronomy, pottery, and woven textiles. Trade routes stretched from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico and beyond. Native Americans shaped the land and left a lasting legacy. Their stories, languages, and wisdom remain an essential part of America's foundation, even after centuries of upheaval. In the late 1400s, European explorers set their sights on the Americas. Spanish conquistadors arrived first, seeking gold and glory. They conquered the Aztecs and built settlements in the southwest and Florida. The French soon followed, focusing on fur trading along the St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes. Dutch traders established New Amsterdam, later known as New York. By the early 1600s, the British began to settle along the Atlantic coast. The first permanent English colony was Jamestown, Virginia, founded in 1607. Others followed: Plymouth, Massachusetts by religious pilgrims, Maryland for Catholics, and Georgia as a debtor's refuge. Colonists faced hardship, disease, and conflict with Native Americans. These European settlements changed everything. They brought new animals, crops, and diseases. Millions of Native Americans died from epidemics. Europeans claimed land and resources, often ignoring indigenous rights and treaties. The land's original inhabitants faced violence, displacement, and loss. Despite this, indigenous peoples adapted and resisted. The meeting of these worlds shaped the future of what would become the United States. The colonies needed workers. At first, they used indentured servants from Europe, but soon they turned to enslaved Africans. The Atlantic slave trade became one of the darkest chapters in American history. Ships crossed the ocean packed with human cargo, bringing millions of Africans to the Americas. In the English colonies, especially in the South, enslaved people became the backbone of the economy. They planted tobacco, cotton, rice, and sugar. From sunrise to sunset, they worked under brutal conditions. Families were torn apart, and freedom was denied for generations. Despite these horrors, enslaved people built strong communities and cultures. They told stories, sang songs, and held on to hope. Some resisted by running away, while others rebelled. Their labor built much of America's wealth, but their suffering left deep wounds. Slavery's legacy is still felt today. The struggle for freedom and equality began long before the Civil War and continues in the present. By the mid-18th century, the British colonies had grown both rich and, well, pretty restless. Many colonists saw themselves as Englishmen, but, also as Americans. New ideas about liberty and government were spreading, ideas brought by the Enlightenment and printed in newspapers and pamphlets all across the colonies. tensions with Britain really started to grow over taxes and control. King George III's government demanded money to pay for wars. Colonists protested, chanting, "No taxation without representation." Events like the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party only fueled more anger. British soldiers and American militias faced off in towns and cities. Leaders such as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin debated what to do next. Some wanted reforms, while others pushed for full independence. In 1776, the Continental Congress approved the Declaration of Independence, stating that all men are created equal. Yet even as they called for freedom, many of these leaders owned slaves. So the seeds of contradiction, liberty and inequality, were really planted from the very beginning. The Revolutionary War ended with American victory in 1783. The new nation faced tough questions. How should it govern itself? What would freedom mean for all its people? At first, the states formed a weak alliance under the Articles of Confederation. But it was clear something stronger was needed. In 1787, delegates met in Philadelphia to write a new constitution. They debated fiercely over the shape of government. The result was a system of checks and balances, with power divided among executive, legislative, and judicial branches. The Bill of Rights guaranteed freedoms like speech, religion, and assembly. But there were deep compromises. Slavery was not ended, only regulated. Enslaved people were counted as 3/5 of a person for representation. Native Americans and women were left out of political rights. The Constitution promised liberty, but not for everyone. Still, the founding documents inspired change. Americans would struggle to widen freedom's circle for centuries to come. The early 1800s saw the nation spread westward. Americans believed in manifest destiny, the idea that they were meant to expand from coast to coast. Pioneers, farmers, and fortune seekers crossed mountains and rivers. The Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark expedition opened vast new lands. This expansion brought prosperity for some, but disaster for others. Native Americans were forced from their homes along the Trail of Tears. Texas won independence from Mexico, and soon the Mexican-American War added new states. Slavery followed settlers west, increasing tensions between North and South. By 1860, the country was divided. The southern states depended on slavery. The North was moving away from it. Abraham Lincoln's election sparked secession. The Civil War began, a bitter, bloody conflict that would decide the nation's future. The war tested America's ideals. Would the country live up to its promise of liberty for all? After the Civil War, the United States faced the challenge of rebuilding. Former slaves gained freedom, but true equality was still far away. Reconstruction brought new laws, but also fierce resistance in the South. Jim Crow laws enforced segregation and denied Black Americans their rights. Industry transformed the nation. Factories, railroads, and cities grew rapidly. Immigrants from Europe, Asia, and beyond arrived by the millions, seeking better lives. Their labor built skyscrapers, dug mines, and powered steel mills. But poverty, child labor, and unsafe conditions were common. The United States became a major world power, joining World War I and later World War II. American soldiers fought overseas, and the nation's economy boomed during wartime. Afterward, the United States emerged as a leader on the global stage, shaping peace agreements and international organizations like the United Nations. Yet, old inequalities remained. The struggle for rights and justice would continue into the next century. The 20th century brought dramatic change. The Great Depression shook the nation's faith in prosperity. Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal helped millions, but World War II truly united the country. After victory, a new conflict began, the Cold War against the Soviet Union. The United States and its allies faced off with nuclear weapons and fought proxy wars in Korea and Vietnam. At home, Americans fought for equality. The Civil Rights Movement, led by Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and many others, challenged segregation and discrimination. New laws promised equal rights, but the struggle was far from over. Women, Native Americans, and LGBTQ Americans demanded change as well. Technological advances transformed daily life. The United States landed astronauts on the moon in 1969. Computers, the internet, and smartphones changed how people live and work. America faced new crises: terrorism, wars in the Middle East, financial crashes, and debates about immigration, climate, and justice. Today, the United States remains a land of promise and challenge. Its story is marked by contradiction, freedom and inequality, progress and conflict. But the journey is not finished. Each generation shapes the nation anew, striving to bring it closer to its ideals.